What's going on, everybody? Almighty Tevin here, and it's been quite a while since we've done this as we sit on DSP's YouTube channel, well, it's other YouTube channel, and I can already tell he needs to change it because it's a fan interactions, not really, channel updates, sure, pro wrestling commentary, no, and game reviews, sure. Anyway, we're gonna do something I haven't done in a while, which is watching and reacting, obviously, to the entire Ask the King. And this is Ask the King episode 55. I don't know how I'm going to upload this. I might upload it in 3 individual videos like he did, because normally these videos end up being double the length of the source video. But it's either going to be 3 videos or it's going to be 2 videos. I don't know yet. Anyway, I look more awful than usual because it's like super late at night. So, for your convenience, I have spooky vision enabled, which is very exciting, I'm sure. This is something people ask for some reason in some videos. And let me see, let me move my scary skeleton down a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Oh boy. Let's start with part 1. These views not looking too hot either, by the way. I mean, uploaded 5 hours ago, not even 1,000 on any of them. And I love how the one with social justice warriors and disabling comments / dislikes and job satisfaction is the most viewed one, because of obvious reasons. Anyway, let's start off with part 1. As we see fan art, I thought he couldn't use fan art anymore. This better not be 20 minutes of silence. Oh my God, that was loud.
Aha. I'm too close. I should have tested this with the on
cowboy hat.
Hold on.
Holy shit, it's been a while since I saw the cowboy hat.
I'm not in an extreme close-up position here. You can actually see the top of the hat.
Watching this video in HD, by the way, so it looks good. I mean, if I switch it to 1080p, it would be overkill, and it's not going to change the quality anyway.
Oh.
Click, click.
Hello, everyone, and
hello, everyone.
To Ask
I
the
love
King,
that.
Ladies and gents. I'm all decked out with my cowboy hat and my Mario shirt. Yeah,
fan service.
This is pretty much the last thing I'm ever going to get as a reward from Club Nintendo, because as you guys and gals know, Club Nintendo closed this year. Yeah, Nintendo decided to get rid of Club Nintendo, so there's no more rewards program for Nintendo buyers. Like there was just another thing that Nintendo needed to take away.
Damn, I thought I had a drink.
I'm just saying. But anyway,
did I lose my drink?
To
this isn't looking too good. Oh, here we go.
Of Ask the King, yeah, 55. And I think about that, I'm like, damn. And I usually do it.
First pause of the video. You can't see it because I paused it, but I love how much fucking detail is in this layout. Support the show. Pledge $20 to get your questions answered. http://www.patreon.com/DarkSidePhil. Follow me on Twitter to get the latest updates. http, like he put the whole fucking URL there. That's insane.
So I've been doing this for quite a long time. Hello and welcome. Sorry, first of all, before I even get started,
sorry for the wait.
Questions, of which I have 5 pages of this month.
5 pages of questions.
That I did not get to do an Ask the King at the end of August as I had originally planned. I was very sick for about 2 weeks there. I had a really incredibly sore throat for like 4 days. And
another pause. I don't want to pause on these irrelevant things, but if you're watching this and you haven't watched the source version, yeah, DSP is pale, but he's not as pale as you see on the screen. I'm not that good with OBS. I need to figure out color correction. Anyway, I'm a professional, don't worry.
I wasn't able to do any kind of gameplay or anything because I was so sick. And,
looking at the chat already.
It is. I was sick. I couldn't do it. I certainly didn't have time to do it in the month of September with all of the game releases that I was doing during that month because it was the heavy gaming season. But I'm back. And this
heavy
is the
gaming
week
season.
To Ask the King. Simply because this week's kind of been a bust when it comes to game releases. We had Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, which was a terrible, terrible fucking game. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later tonight. I'm going to make a special video explaining how bad that fucking game is and what an atrocity it is that this game studio would even release a game like that for $60.
I could just hit Spaceball, huh?
And
keep in mind, DSP planned a rant. He planned it.
Also, I'm doing NBA 2K16, but I've beaten the campaign of the game within 2
Terrible
sessions.
story.
The campaign was only 5 hours or 6 hours long.
Spike Lee
like
trolled the
And
entire
it's kind of a
NBA
shame
2K
because now I'm
community.
going to continue with career mode, but it's just going to be pure basketball, and a lot of people like to see the story-based
Looking at the
cutscenes
chat.
between there. And now there's not apparently going to be any. So it is what it is. It's a light week. I thought it would be maybe a heavier week. It ends up
It
being a
is what
very
it
light
is.
week for me in gameplay-wise. Thank goodness tomorrow, FYI, there will be an Indie Games mini marathon. So you can tune into
shit.
that. But I digress. We're here
I
to
digress.
answer questions. These questions are spanning both the months of August and September. So keep in mind, there may be some questions here that sound a little dated. It's because they're probably from August, and maybe some other things have happened between August and
Oh,
now
my bad.
that
I
update
forgot to
things.
read I forgot to read the title of the video. You can't see it all because I got it like cropped. But As the King episode 55, October 2015, part 1, PSN thoughts, hardcore versus casual gaming. That's going to be an annoying question. In remake movies. What? 70 likes, 21 dislikes. That's actually kind of good.
Questions. In addition to just questions from the forums, there's also questions from Twitter and Facebook.
I guess the
and
dislike brigade didn't come out
I'm also
yet.
answering questions of the patrons, as you can see, right down here in the corner. For a $20
No, I'm pointing in the wrong
pledge,
direction.
you get your question answered
Right there.
for sure
Right down there in the corner.
on Ask the King. And so we've got several people who did do that pledge and
People.
posted up questions, and their questions will be answered on this week's or this month's show. Okay. One final FYI.
I should have made a
Before we get started,
DSP-isms
there will not be
counter.
another Ask the King for quite some time. I want to make
Oh,
this
maybe
clear.
next time.
We're now in the very heavy game release season. Starting
Heavy
this
game
Tuesday,
release season.
We're going to have upwards of more than 2 games a week some weeks coming out, and I'm going to be trying to juggle as much as I can. I'm even going to answer some questions on this Ask the King about some games that I'm purposely not playing because I know I won't be able to handle it during the busy gaming season.
Busy
So
gaming
FYI,
season. He gave like 3
no
different
Ask the
names
King,
in this
and probably
video.
there won't be a Hate Live podcast unless I have something really important to talk about for a while. And what I mean by that is maybe not until late November, December, when I finally get a chance. I know I'm going to be
is
so
my headphone
busy
got
with
a shot?
gameplay. I'm not really going to have time to
Sounded
take
weird.
out to do
Sorry about hitting the mic.
these podcast-style shows. So I apologize to those of you who love this. I love doing it too.
Love
but
it.
This is the time of year. This happens every year. Ask the King goes away. The podcast goes away for a few months or so until we get through all the games, and then we come back with a big, year-end stuff is always awesome, right? So expect it to come back.
Okay, so if I give him $20 now, if I give him $20 between now and the end of October, I get nothing? Let's see.
Within November, December time frame, okay?
Yeah, if I give him $20 now, I get nothing. Unless if I give him $20 now, I can get that pledge carried over to next month and I get a question answered then. But man, he needs to come up with some different perks.
All right, ladies and gents, let's get into it. Let's start answering your questions because we've got a ridiculous amount of them, all right? So first we're going to go with the patron questions, of which there's only a few,
course.
by the way. Just
Only
to
a
let you know,
few.
There's only 4 questions, I believe, that were from patrons. So let's get those out of the way. First question is from Low Tier Lord. He asks
Low
the
tier
following.
Lord strikes again.
Hey Phil, it's me again asking
remember
about
him from a
fighting
couple of
games,
months
and I'd
ago.
like to know your opinion on Capcom fighters being more and more dumbed down as time goes on. I only really started playing fighting games since the original Persona 4 Arena back in 2012, and I played other fighting games as well, albeit casually like Street Fighter 4.
Let me get this
and
straight. I'm not trying to judge this person, but you started playing fighting games in 2012. And the first fighting game you played was an Arc System Works game, which are good, but you started playing fighting games in 2012. And you questioning fighting games being dumbed down?
Capcom 3, I
Let's see
realized
where this
whenever I get a
goes.
slight motion too far to do a move, I would get a different move than what I wanted due to how ridiculously lax the input timings are for those games. After coming from Persona and Blast Blue and realizing how lax the inputs are in other games compared to those games, I was shocked that people weren't really complaining about it, and also the fact that a while ago Capcom announced that they were going to broaden the horizon for Street Fighter V.
I don't think they can broaden it
nervous to know
anymore.
how they could broaden this horizon even more so. I guess my real question is, do you think that fighting games will need to broaden the horizons and be made more accessible to casual players, or do you think that fighting games should stick to their core audience and improve on the original formula that they set out for?
Yeah, stick to the core
And I
audience.
said this when
So
Street Fighter
only the same
4
people play
released,
all of
and
the
I'm still
games.
sticking to my guns on this. It's perfectly okay for Capcom to try to make their games appeal to a wider audience. Street Fighter 4 was the perfect example where they made lax inputs, right? To do a Dragon Punch in Street Fighter 4, you do not have to do forward, down, down, forward on a joystick and press a button. You can double tap a corner of your gamepad or joystick with your thumb and mash a button, and you'll get a reversal Dragon Punch. It's in
Field trip time. This doesn't sound right. So let me let's see, let's just go to Dragon Punch. Dragon Punch input. And I know you don't see the entire screen. I'm gonna find it for you. Well, I'm gonna make sure it shows on the screen. But the Dragon Punch input is not forward, down, down, forward. It's forward, down, forward. I mean, of course, he was saying this on the spot and he would get something wrong, but you're criticizing a fighting game and you get the wrong, you're saying the wrong input. It's forward, down, down, forward. That's what the Z is. Forward. You can't see my mouse on the screen. Forward, down, forward. It's a Z. Forward, down, forward. But, yeah. Kind of wrong about that one, but whatever.
It's ridiculous because that's not what it's supposed to be, but that's what it is. Okay? It appealed to a widespread audience. So many more people who had never played fighting games before jumped onto Street Fighter 4 because it was easy to do these previously complex combos and moves that people had this big learning curve, right?
So
the learning curve kind of went from up here.
I'm
to
nitpicking
like,
too much. Sorry about that.
Right here.
But he trying to say people jumped on the Street Fighter 4 bandwagon because the moves was easy. No. Street Fighter 4 came out in what, 2007, 2008? And the last Street Fighter before that was like, what? Sheesh. Street Fighter 3 and all the different versions of that. People wasn't jumping on the bandwagon. People wanted a new fighting game, dude.
And so tons more people jumped on the game. That's okay.
Uh-huh.
But my opinion always has been there's a competitive community and there's a casual community.
Yes, let's split the community.
It's okay to make
That's always a good thing to do.
Leave that for the casual community, the people who want to play the game and aren't going to ever get great at it, but they want to play it and enjoy it, versus people who want to get competitively good at the game. There should have been an option in Street Fighter 4.
The people that wanted... Wait, let me hear this again. This sounds ridiculous.
Learning curve.
I know,
right?
I'm
the learning
nitpicking.
Curve kind of went from up here,
but it
to
like I like fighting games.
Right,
you know, I've been playing fighting
and
games
so tons more people
pretty
jumped
much
on the game.
since I was like 5 years old.
That's okay.
And this just
my
sounds
opinion always has been
dumb.
There's a competitive community and there's a casual community. It's okay to make lax inputs, but leave that for the casual community, the people who want to play the game and aren't going to ever get great at it.
The people who want to play the game and aren't going to ever get great at it. Huh? But people that's good had to be bad eventually. Well, not eventually, but they had to be bad at one point, Dom. What?
But they want to play it and enjoy it, versus people who want to get competitively good at the game.
So pretty much he's saying it should be a try-hard option and a baby mode option. Everybody would just pick the baby mode option online. He would know this if he played BlazBlue, or even if he fucking played Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Everybody just picks the simple input version when they play online, and people just mash buttons and get fantastic combos.
There should have been an option in Street Fighter 4 and all subsequent games that Capcom released afterward.
Capcom
Lax
never doing
inputs
that.
On, lax inputs off.
That's fucking
Casual
stupid.
Players can play the game the way they want. Competitive players can play the way the game they want. And now you actually have that perfect medium, right?
That's fucking
Instead, Capcom
stupid.
Just make the game incredibly easy, and what happened? Tons of people ran out, bought the shit out of the game.
The game will be broken online because everybody would pick the easy input version online.
Two characters who had really abusable, easy strategies.
And then for tournaments, they would just disable the other version. They would disable the easy mode version online. Well, not online, in tournaments.
A la Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. And yes, I know I kiss Super Turbo's ass, but I still think it's the best fighting game ever made. Then
yeah, because you grew up with it.
Look at Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, all right? There are some characters that are easy to play with, and they are really good. But if you are an expert level player, you can play.
I think Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo is the best fighting game too. That's because I grew up with it. It was my first fighting game.
Most of those characters can be played and win tournaments. Not so in Street Fighter 4. In Street Fighter 4, you just learn the abusable shit, and now everyone can do it. And so that's really, unfortunately, what happened with Capcom. They sold.
So in Street Fighter 4, confirmed by DSP, former pro fighting game player, confirmed by him, in Street Fighter 4, no matter how good you are with a character, you still won't win at a tournament because people just pick the same characters and win.
Out to this,
I guess skill has nothing to do with anything.
We don't care about
apparently it's all about money.
We don't care about tournament level competitive gameplay. We care about having every Joe Schmo being able to play this game at a high level so everyone will just buy the game.
It's high level.
So how well did that really work out for Capcom when they started releasing other games like the Marvel vs. Capcom series and Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and those games pretty much, when you look at them, did not have any kind of longevity at all, right? Marvel vs. Capcom, the only reason anyone even talks about the game anymore because it's flashy for tournaments. That's it.
I kind of feel the same way about Marvel vs. Capcom. I despise that game with a passion, and I'm not going to talk about that today. But Street Fighter Cross Tekken didn't work for way more reasons than it was easy. If you really have the nerve to say Street Fighter Cross Tekken didn't work out in the long run because it was easy, then you could just say Street Fighter 4 didn't work out in the long run because it was easy.
When it came out, competitive players who loved the previous Marvel vs. Capcoms hated Marvel vs. Capcom 3 because it was such a noob-friendly piece of shit game. But it all depends, right? If this is what Capcom's
Smash vs. Capcom 3.
I played Street Fighter 5, and I've only played a little bit. I haven't played it a lot, so certainly I can't give you my master level opinion. Once the game comes out and I play the hell out of it, I'll give you a better opinion. It seems like it is still easy to pull off certain moves, but seems like the game
couldn't pull off any other moves.
The combos are a lot more basic, and there's not as many, so it's not like learn the easy.
Watch his gameplay of Street Fighter 5 if you got some spare time. And yeah, he's garbage at the game. He tries to play Street Fighter 5 like Street Fighter 4. I've seen him play Street Fighter 4 a lot. I watched him play Street Fighter 4 in 2008. I used to watch that shit all day. And this motherfucker plays Street Fighter 5 exactly like he played Street Fighter 4 in 2008. He does the same tactics with the same characters, the same everything to the T. So yeah, if he says Street Fighter 5 is even kind of easy, he must be very garbage at the game, obviously.
There may be more focus on gameplay and footsies and reactions versus learn this one really easy to do strategy because everyone can do it, and that's what wins tournaments, all right?
Looking at the chat.
In my opinion, you can have lax inputs, but you should keep it out of the tournament scene.
That makes no sense, though.
They wanted everyone who bought Street Fighter 4 to have a feeling like they could win.
Does he want a simple output and a normal output? Because this lax input shit sounds really fucking dumb. Well, here we are, and Capcom is in financial straits, financial troubles. They're not in financial troubles because Street Fighter 4 is easy.
They're not buying their crap anymore, Their later attempts at fighting games failed miserably, and now they're going back to the drawing board with Street Fighter 5.
Marvel didn't fail. And Street Fighter Cross Tekken was broken at release.
But I say if you want a lax input mode, great. But leave it for the casuals. Have it outside of tournaments, and tournaments can be more hardcore. That was always what I said.
Why would you split the community like that on purpose?
All right, the next question is from Sammy Samosa, and he says, before I ask my question, I'd like to start out and say that I admire your work ethic. Some people think that all you do is press a few buttons and make everything happen magically on screen. If it was so easy and simple, everyone would be able to make a living doing what you're doing, and there wouldn't be any unemployment rates. Wow, I don't know about that, but
let me hear this again. This sounds insane.
But outside of tournaments, tournaments can be more hardcore. That was always what I said since Street Fighter 4 debuted, and I'm sticking with it. All right, the next question is from Sammy Samosa, and he says, before I ask my question, I'd like to start out and say that I admire your work ethic. Some people seem to think that all you do is press a few buttons and make everything happen magically on screen. If it was
That's
so
what video
simple,
games
everyone
are.
would be able to make a living doing what you're doing, and there wouldn't be any unemployment rates. Wow, I don't know about that, but
well, if everybody started in 2007,
shaking the haters
off. No way. What decade is this? Is this 2004? Wow, I remember a song used to be called "Shake Them Haters Off." That is insane.
What are some lessons you learned from last year, and what are the improvements and changes that you'll make? Well, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Last year had so many releases. During the hardcore gaming season, releases
that can't be a real human to say that term.
I tried to play too many games at once. I still remember there was 2 weeks in November of last year when we had like Dragon Age Inquisition, Far Cry 4.
Terrible playthroughs.
I think there was like 2
WWE.
other games that I was still playing from 1 or 2 weeks before. Basically, I was trying to play 5 to 6 games at once.
Terrible
And what I was doing
playthroughs.
was balancing my
Same
week.
thing
This
is gonna
day I'll play
happen
these
this
2
year, by the
games.
way.
This day I'll play these 2 games. This day I'll play these 2 games, right?
You don't play games
What
enough.
ended
You
up
can't play
happening
games
was, what if
5
you
hours a
really
day
like
and try to
Dragon
play
Age
all them
Inquisition?
games.
Well, I was only playing the game like once every 4 days. So people who wanted to see these games continue went away and said,
Looking at the
"Forget it,
chat.
you know,
Looking at the
I
chat a
don't
lot.
want to wait to see Phil play this game, and if I want to see someone play the game,
Looking
I'll
at
go
the
watch
wall.
someone who's only playing that game." And sadly, that's what happened. A lot of the games that were playthroughs last year ended up being longer, extended playthroughs. But because they were longer, I lost my viewership on those playthroughs because I was juggling
Dude.
too much at once. Okay.
Popular YouTuber mention time. Chugga Conroy took like fucking decades to beat Xenoblade, and he didn't really lose viewers on that. But DSP got to blame everything except himself.
So this year, my goal is to pick and choose the games that I want
Pick
to
and
play right
choose.
away and play them when it seems like they're appropriate. So, for example, next week in particular, just to give you an example, here's the games coming out next week. Rock Band 4, Disgaea 5, the Uncharted Collection, Transformers Devastation, Metal Gear Solid Online, and I actually think there may be an episodic game like, I think it's Minecraft by Telltale Games or something being released as well.
So what all
There's
the head
no
wobbling, man?
human way possible I could play all...
Obviously, way more games than that are coming out. DSP, he doesn't take into consideration pretty much anything that's PC only. He doesn't take into consideration pretty much anything that's PC only, anything on the 3DS, anything on the PS Vita, anything that might even be Xbox exclusive. It's a lot of games he don't take into consideration. Like when he says games are coming out next week and he mentions like 5 games, just multiply whatever number he gives you by 5. And that might be the real number. So if he says 5 games are coming out next week, it might be like 30. 5 times 5 is not 30. You get the fucking point I'm making.
those games in 1 week and even cover any of them legitimately. So I have decided, I've narrowed them down. I said out of all those games next week, I'll be playing Transformers, I'll be playing Metal Gear Solid Online, and if I have time, maybe I'll play that episodic game that I mentioned. But everything else
No
is going
Disgaea
to be
for
on the
you.
back burner.
That shit would
Because
take him
I cannot
months to
tackle
beat.
that many games at once. And I know what will end up happening. I'll be playing them for 2 months. And
I'm pausing way too much, but plays video games for a living. Plays video games for a living. And can't tackle too many games at one time. Only plays games 5 hours a day. 1 3-hour stream with a break, and 1 2-hour stream maybe with a break. I said this a few days ago. He needs to do 3 streams for this time of the year. If people complain, fuck it. People always complain and you say fuck it. So if people complain, fuck it. You do 3 streams. You wake up, you do a stream at 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning, whatever. You do that for 3 hours. You do another stream at 1, 2 in the afternoon maybe. You do that for 3 hours. You do another stream at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 8:30 p.m. Do that for 2 hours. You could play 3 games a day. You'll be uploading roughly 7 more videos a day than normal, since your videos are longer than they used to be. I mean, if people are going to complain, obviously. People complain about everything this dude do. So there's no point in saying people are going to complain, so I'm not going to do it. I don't know why he doesn't do that. Because it's more work? Yeah, but you would finish games faster and you would get more views because, let's be honest, at least 300 people show up to his streams, like 300 consistent people, no matter what, unless it's a really shit game and it's second stream or something, or something people don't care about. But during a hardcore gaming season, he's going to be getting 400 people on stream for almost everything. I don't know why he doesn't do that. I guess he just doesn't want to put in extra effort.
After a week, they'll say, forget it. I need to strike the iron when it, or what is it? Strike the iron when it's hot. Is that what they say? Is that the saying? I think it is.
Strike the fire when the iron is hot?
When I was playing Until Dawn
strike
last
the iron
month,
when the fire is hot.
people loved it when I
think.
played my first session.
Strike the iron when it's
hot.
hot. I don't fucking know.
So instead of balancing Until Dawn with God of War Collection, which is what a lot of people are saying, why aren't you playing the God of War Remastered Collection while you're playing Until Dawn for variety? No. I said, no, I'm going to keep playing Until Dawn. I played it for 3 straight days, and people said
That would have just been this is how you don't play.
And I got tons of views on it, and it was very successful.
Views.
So that's kind of what I'm going to focus on doing. I'm going to be focusing
Still looking
on,
at the chat.
games
Jesus
that I
Christ.
know
What
can
did
be beaten
Oblivion
within a
say?
reasonable amount of time. Games that I really want to play, and things, for example, Disgaea 5. I want to play Disgaea 5.
No, you don't.
Like I do. Whenever
Sure you do.
years and years and years
You
ago,
hated
I
that
played
game
Disgaea
years
4, and a
ago.
lot of
You
people
did
said,
awful
I don't
at
know
it.
if Phil will like this. I don't know if this
You
will
don't
be a
even
fun
like
playthrough.
JRPGs. They don't get
It was very
views.
different. At that time, I really wasn't into RPGs, right?
It's not an
Especially
RPG.
for
It's a
stuff I was putting out on
JRPG.
YouTube, and people loved it. Even though it was a longer, drawn-out playthrough, and yeah, the viewership wasn't great compared to other games, people liked the fact that I did variety of content. I want to do Disgaea 5, but I'll tell you right now, this is not the time for it. With all these releases, there's no way I'd be able to play a game like that consistently
Look at the chat.
throughout this month. So I'm just going to hold on. I'll get
It would
it,
take
but I'll
him 3
hold
months
off
to
on
beat
it,
that
and when
fucking
we
game.
get slower downtime, which we get all the time, that'll be one
Those
of the games
games
that
are
I'm
long
balancing
on
with other
purpose,
stuff,
pretty much.
okay? So that's how I'm taking it differently. You're going to see me play 2, maybe 3 games tops a week for the next several months, and it'll carry me.
Dude, I don't know how he's going to do it. And I don't know what games he plan on playing specifically. But if he playing 2 or 3 games at a time, and he want to get through October, November, and December, how many games how many games is he gonna skip? I don't think he's gonna do it.
Even if it carries into January or whatever, we got leftover games, I'll play them, but we'll play them a little later. That way I can focus on the games, on beating the games, on reviewing the games, and not, 14 games I'm juggling. I mean, let's face it.
I don't think he can
Dragon
do
Age
it.
Inquisition, I didn't even finish till like the late January this year.
I remember that.
I never reviewed it. Because I already named it my game of the year by then. I was like, why should I even bother reviewing
He
it?
called it the game of the year before he was done playing it, and he never reviewed it. That's beautiful. Looking at the chat.
Okay. All right.
I forgot
Next
about
question.
that part. That is beautiful.
It's from Energetic Snail, and this one is about Persona.
The thing I love about Ask the King is that he takes so long to answer the questions. By the time he done answering, you don't even remember the question. That's like the best part.
He says, hey, Phil, I've been a fan of yours since your Heavy Rain playthrough back in the day. Nowadays, I like to watch your vlog videos, and the last game that I watched you play fully was Persona 4. So speaking of Persona, I'll ask you this
that Persona
question.
4 playthrough
If you haven't heard,
was
Persona 5
astounding.
is out for 2015 release in both North America and Japan. Now, unfortunately, he didn't hear it got delayed, because it got delayed until 2016. This question was posed before
Delayed
that
just
happened,
like Project
okay?
7.
This is odd since an actual release date hasn't even been announced for Japan yet. On top of that, no matter how much people tell Atlas it's not going to happen, they seem to just reply that it is going to come out in 2015. Har, 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 now we know it's not going to.
Atlas
My
fucking
question is, do you
trolled
think
us.
it'll be possible for Persona 5 to come out in 2015 in North America? Will you play it when it comes out? How are you going to cover it? And have you seen the gameplay trailer?
If only they put it out on
See, it's funny, now this question's
PC
kinda
so I could
answered.
steal
The
it.
whole thing was flawed. We knew it wasn't coming out this year. When you don't have a release date even for Japan, and you know the game needs to be localized for the United States, you knew it wasn't coming out. And no,
they
it's not coming out.
bullshitted
Now it's
us
coming out. I
hard.
believe they're saying the summer of 2016. I think it's a good thing. The
Oh, so
reason that I
you-
think it's a good thing
for your YouTube
if it
channel?
didn't come out during this crazy ass
Here we go.
hardcore gaming season. Let's face it, I loved Persona 4. I want to spend a ton of time playing Persona 5. I would not have been able to do it if it
Told
come
you.
out during the season.
His
Now it's coming
YouTube
out in the
channel.
summer of next.
Who gives a fuck about anything else? If a game releases when I'm playing other casual shit games like Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty, if a game releases when I'm playing those games on my YouTube channel, fuck that game. They picked a bad release date.
Year, we know traditionally summer is slow. I'll have time to focus.
Dude, Persona 5 could come out any day at once and people are going to buy it. That shit could come out Christmas Eve and people are going to buy it. Does he not realize how popular Persona is? After the fucking buzzer beater that was Persona 4. Persona 4 was like a fucking Robert Ory buzzer beater, if you remember Robert Ory. Does he not realize that? He thinks games like Call of Duty are going to overshadow Persona 5.
On
Yeah,
it,
sure.
to really like it, to get involved in it, just like I did with Persona
You know, an
4, it's
actual
perfect,
hardcore
okay?
game, because Call of Duty, Assassin's
well, of
Creed,
course
and
I'll be
everything
playing it
else
when it
that
comes
releases
out.
every year
And
in
it'll
November,
probably be an
that's not
ongoing summer
hardcore
playthrough,
games.
major
That's
focus
not
on my summer
hardcore
next
gaming
year.
season.
And I have not seen
And I'm sure
the
somebody's going to be pissed off at me saying that. I don't give a fuck.
playthrough.
Anyway,
I have.
let's
I'm going to
continue.
assume it's very similar to Persona 4. But the thing is, these days, I don't look at gameplay trailers too much because I think that they spoil a lot about these games, and I don't want to spoil myself. I'd rather play a game cold and experience it for the first time. I think that people get too much about, hyping the game, I need to know everything about the game. How many
Massive
people knew
on
everything about
playoffs.
Metal Gear Solid 5 before it was even released? And it's like,
I'm the same way. I don't look up a lot. I don't look up anything about video games, to be completely honest. I just want to know the name of it. I want to know what it is, and I want to know when it's coming out. I don't look at all of these teaser trailers and hour-long fucking playthroughs of it before it come out and all that extra shit, because I really do feel like it does spoil people. And I'm in the same boat as him, but at the same time, he plays games for a living, and that changes everything. I don't. And he does. So he needs to do more research on games.
If there's no discovery,
you can do research on the game without
game,
knowing everything about it.
That's a part of a game experience that you're taking out because you did so much fucking previous research before the game came out. I'm excited to play Persona 5. I'm
actually agreeing with stuff in this as the king, which is interesting.
Cold and honestly, the first time I play it. There you go. Next question is from Woe Moses. And he says, if you were chosen to be one of the 24 people in a Hunger Games style situation, what would be your plan of action once it started? I mean,
make hate videos about everybody.
Are we talking the original movie that it was based off?
Here we go, hipster side film.
I remember the name of it right now.
Is it going to bring up the books?
The Japanese movie and the Japanese manga that was based off of. I cannot remember the name of it right now. I'm sure people in the chat are going to go crazy. I talked about this before.
I got to bring up the Japanese movie version.
But anyway,
I know more than the mainstream that only watched the American movies.
Area, you couldn't leave it. You had to survive amongst other people. I probably actively wouldn't seek to kill anyone unless they were seeking to kill me. I don't know. It's tough because you were talking Hunger Games. You have the collar.
You will make rant videos about everybody.
The Japanese one now. I can't even remember. Remember because I remember the Japanese version. They're gonna die if they don't. If everyone's not dead within a certain
all of the versions of the Hunger Games just so you can know what Hunger Games is.
Thank you. If someone doesn't die during a certain period of time, one of the collars explodes or so they die.
Is this Saw?
Really like
I don't know. I never watched Hunger Games. I never planned on watching
that. First
that.
thing you do is look for shelter. Next thing you do is look for weapons, and you're trying to arm yourself defensively, and then maybe you start scouting out the other people.
Why is this a question, and why did he answer it?
Do I really want to put myself in an animalistic situation where I have to hunt down and survive against another dozen people? Probably not, and I really don't want to think about that right now, but I would do it. Could I do it if I had to? Maybe. But I
prefer Lord of the Flies over Hunger Games.
Okay, then. And then another, this is funny because this question is also from Low Tier Lord because this is
Low Tier Lord again
of questions. So he posed another question, ladies and gents.
$40 worth of questions.
Persona 5 again. Wow, he said. Oh no,
$40 worth of
Persona 5.
questions.
It's a different person asking. He says, Phil, if you didn't hear, at the end of Tokyo Game Show, it was announced that Persona 5 was delayed until summer 2016. At first, I was bummed out, but then I thought to myself, hey, it just means that the game's going to be better. But then I thought to myself, but wait a minute.
No,
this
it
game was
just got
originally
delayed.
supposed to come out in winter of 2014. Then it got delayed till 2015. Now till 2016. Personally, I know that the devs for Persona 5 are doing their best to give us the best
putting that troll face
but I also
on.
feel that
They're like, buy Persona 4
that are
dancing all night.
The game might kill all of the hype of the game.
Fucking
My question is, are you okay with game delays? And if so, how far is too far in regards to that? Well,
Duke Nukem Forever is too far.
You're going to get a lot of different opinions on that subject. Some people would say delaying a game is great as long as the final product is great, right? Some people would say, oh yeah, delaying a game is great until you look at games like Daikatana, Duke Nukem Forever,
Daikatana,
Aliens Colonial Marines, games that were delayed so much and were in limbo for so long. When they finally came out, they were stinky pieces of shit.
Stinky pieces of shit.
There is a positive and a negative side to game delays, right? Now, I am of the opinion that if a game's going to be delayed because there is something wrong with it, or you really feel that it's not on a level yet for it to come out.
I just want to say, I just noticed this. I love how his layout for As the King, it looks like a fucking Twitch layout. Because it's the constant promotion on all over the screen. It's constant promotion in the bottom left, constant promotion in the bottom right. I mean, that doesn't work for a YouTube video. It works for Twitch, because people come in and leave. But for YouTube, it doesn't really work. Because the people going to this video already knew all of this stuff anyway. It's so odd.
Designers intended, then it should be delayed. But at the same time, the question is,
I should cut this other
why does the
laptop
game
off.
get delayed?
I got the lemon
is,
laptop running in the background,
the release
and
dates
it's kind of loud
on these games, right? Persona 5, they said it was going to come out in winter of 2014. For it to be delayed 2 years, I have to think that limitation or that original release date maybe was the target date that the
shit was never done.
Atlas put on them, And then as they were developing the game, they said, there's no way we can live up to that and put out a quality game.
Alice
so
with
they had
that
to keep
troll
delaying
face.
and delaying it and delaying it.
Buy the
So
spin-offs
really, the problem,
first.
in my opinion, is not with
You
the delay
fucking
of games.
bastards.
The problem is with the over-promising by these game publishers of when a game's going to come out before they even creatively know when a game could be completed. All right? Now, there's also a flip side to this. If a game's delayed for purposes other than making the game better, I completely and utterly disagree with it. The case in point that I'm going to bring up is 2 years ago, we had Rayman Legends, which was a game that was supposed to be a Wii U exclusive, right? Ubisoft worked on this
I'm
game, Wii U
cutting it
exclusive.
off of this
So
video.
everyone who
This is
loved
loud as
Rayman
fuck.
Origins ran out and bought a Wii U to play this game. The Wii U sold terribly as a console, and Ubisoft realized they weren't going to make any profit if this thing was a console exclusive. They delayed the game, this Wii U exclusive version, which was
I
done.
remember that.
Delayed it from a February release to a September release,
I
and had it
remember
come out
that.
the same fucking week as Grand Theft Auto 5.
Of course, he remembers the same week and he face palms over the week because he had to play Grand Theft Auto 5 all that week for them views. And Rayman didn't get any love from him because Grand Theft Auto 5 would get more of them views. Yet again, game release schedule is pretty much revolving around his YouTube channel. If he didn't have a YouTube channel, he wouldn't give a fuck when these games came out. Just like most people don't. Like, think about it. Does the average gamer say, oh, this game comes out the same day as this other game I like? Well, that's bullshit. Fuck that. I mean, you buy both the games, you buy one of the games, and you deal with it. But DSP complains about it for a completely different reason than most average gamers would. You know, I mean, an average gamer will complain because they don't want to spend $120 in one day as opposed to spending $60 in one day. DSP complains about it because he wants to get views off of this one game one day as opposed to getting views off of this other game one day. You get what I mean? Hopefully.
Fuck. And the only reason they did that is because they wanted to make it cross-platform. So now,
What he's saying is like Rayman was even competing with Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, dude, it's Grand Theft Auto 5 and it's Rayman. Come on, bro.
And PS3 as well.
It's like
Complete
comparing
bullshit.
Mario with fucking...
The game developers of Rayman actually came out and protested.
I can't
and
even
said,
think
this
of
is
something.
Bullshit. We want our game to be released. It's done. We were working
It's like
slave-like
comparing Mario
hours
with
to
the
get the game done
Titanic.
for February release.
The Mario,
There's no reason to delay it that
released
long.
the same day as Titanic.
When the game came out, guess
bunch
what
of
happened?
bullshit.
It flopped miserably.
Did it really?
Was incredibly low sales. It was way lower sales than the original Rayman Origins game. Even though it was cross-platform, it was one of the worst performing games that Ubisoft had released in quite some time. And basically everyone said the game's great, but it's a shame because it came out a month when no one gave a shit about anything but Grand Theft Auto. And that's
This
their
sounds
fucking
like him
fault.
this
Shame
year
on them
with
for
Metal Gear
delaying so
Solid
long.
5.
So
The same
I
argument.
completely disagree with delaying a game for stupid purposes like that. Especially when you make promises to your
Why did you
customers,
delay
"We'll be a
Project
console
7 then?"
exclusive. Go buy a Wii U so you can play, you know, Rayman Legends, and then they fucking go back on their promise because they're looking at this. Fuck that shit.
Pledge to my Patreon so you can see Project 7 and they go back on their promises because of this.
And I still get angry thinking about it because it was such a bullshit thing at Ubisoft, and basically no one paid for it. It wasn't like the management got shaken up. No, it was like, oh well, chalk it up to bullshit. Let's continue. And then of course they put out a shitty Assassin's Creed, and it just continues.
Assassin's
Ubisoft
Creed
with
had
their
nothing
shit
to do
show.
with Rayman, dude. Take a sip.
All
Look
right.
at the chat.
So now we're gonna get into forum questions. So here we go. First question is from MDC Fan 101. He says, Phil, other than playing video games and doing commentary, what is your
Did
favorite
KG
hobby?
Halion get a
Well,
question this time? I guess not.
I've had many hobbies over the years. I used to
That's
draw.
disappointing.
I used to draw when I was a kid, and then I kind of went out of
I used to do Let's
not really out
Plays
of
when I was
style, but
when I was a
more
grown
enjoyed
up.
reading comic books,
Still
than
doing
drawing.
it.
So then I started reading comic books. That was a thing. Collecting comics and also collecting baseball cards, collecting comic book and pop culture cards throughout the 1990s. That was kind of my
What is a
hobby.
pop culture card?
Then it became action figures. I started collecting X-Men action figures and Spawn action figures, and action figures were all the rage in the 90s. Then all that stuff started going on.
And then you started YouTube and you started collecting statues.
And so, of course, besides video gaming, wrestling, pro wrestling was always kind of my hobby. Watch pro wrestling, commenting on pro wrestling, And even to this day, even though I've
With your
dramatically
friend
cut
John
down
Rambo,
on the amount
I mean,
that
never
I
mind.
watch pro wrestling, still I watch it from time to time, and I still enjoy giving my comments about it. It's still a fun thing to watch. I don't watch it anywhere nearly as much as I did when I was doing
Your
Smart
very
Guys, but I still
misguided,
enjoy watching
ignorant
it from time
comments
to time.
on wrestling.
And then the other thing I would definitely say,
Looking at the
I do
chat?
consider myself kind of a movie buff when it
Oh
comes
my
to
God.
things like comedies, horror movies, that kind of stuff.
What
I
an
do
ego.
enjoy, watching movies a lot. And in fact, during the month of October, I do a Halloween movie marathon. Leanna and I are doing it again this year, starting tonight. Tonight's October 1st, so starting tonight.
I enjoy playing games. I must be a hardcore gamer, right? Let me just call myself
Once a night,
that.
at least we're watching a horror movie of some sort.
Let
Whether
me
it's
just give myself a
classic,
title.
a reboot, whatever. We're going to watch one horror movie a night. And we're going to try to watch a ton. Last year, we went through the more cliche slasher stuff, like we watched the Friday the 13th, the Nightmare on Elm Street, stuff like that. This year, we're going to go for more Universal classic horror movies with the classic Universal monsters. We're going to look for more well-renowned, like The Shining, movies like that. Movies that didn't have a huge franchise. Stuff like that is what we're probably going to focus on this year. So if you're interested in what we're watching, check on Twitter @TheyCallMeDSP.
Oh
Nightly,
my
I'll probably
God.
tell you what we're watching as a horror movie marathon this
If you're
month,
interested
right?
in what movies I'm watching, follow
That's
me
really
on
my
Twitter.
hobbies. I really don't have too
What?
much outside of that. I don't watch sports. I'm not into, say, too much television. I do watch some television, but not too much.
Yeah, you watch it
I try
when
to
it's
stay
old
relevant.
and
Like, for
dated
example,
on
right now I'm
Netflix.
watching Scream Queens. I'm watching the new Muppet Show. I'm watching Fear the Walking Dead. I'm
Told
trying to
you.
watch things that are pertinent in pop culture, so if something does happen, I can maybe reference it in my playthroughs. But for the most part,
He watched stuff that's pertinent and popular in pop culture so he can maybe reference it in his playthroughs. Are you fucking serious? I mean, thank you for being honest, but what? I'm gonna watch Fear the Walking Dead. I'm gonna watch the whole season of it. Just so maybe if I'm playing a game, I can make a reference to something from Fear the Walking Dead. And people will say, oh, I know that reference. Wow, this guy must be cool.
I'm more of a
What
movie
the
buff than a
fuck?
television buff, okay?
This video is way too long, by the
All
way.
right,
Sorry
next
about
question.
that.
This one's from Jad F. And he says, Phil, what is your honest opinion on the state of the PlayStation Network at the moment? Do you think that from the introduction of PlayStation Plus until now, the quality has improved enough to say that its competitor Xbox Live is slacking, or do you still think that there's some major issues and concerns with the whole indie game free provision model for PS Plus members, DLC distribution, and overall stability? I know that you were a longtime
boy.
Xbox 360
He hate
gamer. So you can
PSN.
make a parallel to the early years of Xbox Live, the latter years, and the current competition, which is happening in the console market with Sony.
You can't compare
Well,
something that's
here's
been
the
free
thing,
for
and I said this
years
before, and
to
I'll
something
say
that
it
was
again.
always pay to get.
I love the PlayStation 4. It is my console of choice for this console generation simply because, all right, when the consoles launched 2 years ago, games were performing better on the PlayStation 4.
So
The
he wanted
PlayStation 4 had better
900p
frame
instead
rate
of
and better,
720p.
visuals when it came to resolution.
I just want to say, I love he picked the PS4 over the Xbox One when it launched because the PS4 games perform better when most of those games are on PC, and they performed way better on PC.
Overall, more so than the Xbox 360, and even to this day, even Metal Gear Solid 5 ran at a higher resolution
Oh, you mean a game that's on PC?
on PlayStation 4 at the same frame rate than it did on a lower resolution on the Xbox One. That's really the reason why I use the PlayStation 4 over the Xbox One, okay? However, I will say this.
So you play on a PlayStation 4 over the Xbox One specifically because of resolution and frame rate. Is this IGN?
The one negative that I can say about the whole PlayStation 4
Is this an
series
IGN
has
comment
been
section?
PlayStation Network and how inconsistent it is. So let me explain what I mean by that. When I used to play everything on the Xbox 360 during the last console
This is
generation,
the same thing he ranted
I pretty
about
much
5
knew
years ago.
that I would see new
This is
releases,
the same thing he ranted about
DLC
less than a year
expansions
ago.
would all come out overnight.
We
And I
know
could
your
wake up in the
opinion
morning
about
and I
this.
could trust that on Tuesday morning that stuff would be ready to play. I remember several times I would do a Fallout DLC, like Fallout New Vegas, when the DLCs went live overnight at like 2 in the morning. I would play them at 2 in the morning and have a drink and play them overnight for like 5, 6, 7 hours
And get
because
some
they
easy
came out
views.
so quickly.
Yet again, This is all about his YouTube channel. Yet again, none of these complaints are legit. I'm an actual gamer complaints. All of these complaints are YouTube channel related complaints. He doesn't care when PSN puts stuff out, but when it deals with his YouTube channel, he cares. It's pretty much that simple.
Okay.
Just like him in
And
release
I
dates,
enjoyed
he
that
only cares
experience. I
about
also
release
enjoyed
dates
the fact
because
that
his
when I
YouTube
played games
channel.
on the Xbox 360, I could, number one, almost always get a match. No problem with matchmaking or anything like that.
Because it makes it
And number
easy,
two,
it
the
makes it
voice
easy for his
communication
YouTube
was
channel.
Great. I could understand what people were saying. If you were playing a team-based shooter, you could actually understand what people were saying on their microphones.
But you don't use
now,
voice chat.
Of course, that was a double-edged sword because 90% of the time it was a little kid saying fucking shit and titty dicks and twist your nipple, fuck. And it was like, I don't need to hear that shit, right?
You never
But
talked to those
for
people.
When I actually had
You just had
co-op,
voice chat turned
it was
on.
great. People could hear what people were saying for my
When you actually
recording
had
purposes. It was
co-op.
awesome.
But the 8 times he's ever done it.
PlayStation Network is now in the same model as Xbox Live. Last generation, it wasn't. Last console generation, when it was PS3 versus Xbox 360, Xbox.
Yet again, like I said, you can't compare something that's been free for years to something that you always have to pay for. If I do something free for 5 years and I start charging a month ago and you've been charging for the last 5 years, you can't compare me to the people that have been charging 5 years ago just because I'm charging now too. The product I provide is still going to be more shit than the product that the other people provide. Sure, you have to pay for both of them, but one of them you've been paying for longer, and people probably put way more research into it ahead of time.
Xbox 360 Gold, Live Gold was a paid service, and PSN was always free. So you can make these excuses. Oh, the voice chat sucks, but it's free. The matchmaking's not as good, but it's free. Okay, but now it's
I never
a
had
paid
problems with
service.
voice
If you
chats
wanna do
or
multiplayer online, you have to pay
matchmaking on
just like
PSN,
Xbox
by the
Live.
way.
But the services are not
because people
equivalent.
actually bought good
I'm sorry,
microphones
they're
that
not.
did voice chat
They're
with
just
me.
not equivalent. You've got game releases that come out at midnight on Xbox One all the time, and they very frequently don't come out at the.
Yet again, this is all about his YouTube channel, and if he played games on PC, he would get everything at midnight. He would get everything at the earliest possible release. But no, he's lazy, and he doesn't want to buy a new computer or buy an internal capture card, so he's at the mercy of
Same
PSN.
time on PlayStation Network.
Good job.
DLCs this year have been infamous for this. The season pass that I bought for Mortal Kombat X, Mortal Kombat 10, whatever you want to
Oh,
call
look,
it,
more YouTube
was
channel
a
related
fucking
complaints. Looking at the chat.
nightmare. Seriously. I wanted to play with these new characters on release day, but frequently they.
Look. The Mortal Kombat character DLC release was a nightmare because he couldn't play it hour one. He was able to play these characters the same day, but he couldn't play them on first stream. Yet again, these are YouTube channel related complaints. Most normal humans won't say, oh, I can't play as Shang Tsung at 1 p.m. my time. I'm furious. No, they're going to say, oh, PSN didn't update. I guess I'll check it later. I can understand if he had to wait like 2 weeks or 2 days or even one full business day. No, he complaining because he couldn't play after midnight.
weren't
These are not
available on the
average gamer
PlayStation Network
complaints.
until late in the afternoon,
See,
if not later
late
in
in
the
the afternoon.
day.
It's the same day.
On the release day, versus they were already up since
Jesus
midnight the night before on
Christ.
Xbox Live. PlayStation Network
Play on
still
Xbox
to
then.
this day does not update
Play on
consistently
Xbox
at
and
a
stop fucking
consistent time.
complaining.
You don't know when the new game will show up, when the DLC will show up, and it's all a big confusing thing. And the question is why?
It's not confusing.
If
It's called
Xbox obviously
patience.
has a set schedule, Xbox obviously has it down. They have a system that works.
Yeah, because
Why
it's
hasn't
Xbox.
PlayStation done that? And
Xbox
I
is
will
based in
again say
America.
this.
PlayStation
Voice
isn't.
chat on fucking PlayStation 4 sounds like fucking shit. And I will stick to my guns on this.
People using bad microphones. The PlayStation 4 shipped with a really, really shitty microphone. And a lot of people, believe it or not, use those really shitty microphones. Like I said, I never had a problem with voice chat on PSN, ever. But the people I talked to on PSN actually spent money on a microphone, and it didn't sound bad.
Used wired headsets. I've used wireless Bluetooth headsets. I've used every possible headset.
Your headset
It
don't matter
sounds
if their
terrible.
headset
It sounds
is
like
bad.
someone is inside. this is the voice chat. And half the time you can't even really understand what people are saying. And
Yeah,
I don't
because they have a
understand
shit mic.
why Xbox has this really high quality voice chat and PlayStation Network to this day it sounds like garbage. I don't understand it. I have incredibly expensive headsets and people tell me I sound like shit. So what is up with PlayStation
I don't know what to
Network?
say
There's
about
no,
that.
it's not
Like
equality.
I said, I
It's
never
really
had a
not. It's
problem
not
with
equality between the two
voice chat
networks.
on
If I were
PSN.
buying a console solely on network experience, I'd go for Xbox One. But in this case, this console generation was not equal at launch, and therefore that's why I kind of play
Oh,
everything on
listen, flailing.
PlayStation 4 over Xbox
Oh, I'm
One.
flailing.
There you have it. There's my opinion on the two, okay?
Take a sip. Wow, his
Okay.
camera settings.
Next question
changed.
is from Random Ron, and he says the following.
Some of
Earlier
these
this year, my
questions.
campus video game
Some of
club
these
had a
answers.
discussion on hardcore versus casual in backseat gaming. One thing that was mentioned was how the hardcore crowd can ruin an experience of the casual crowd, or how anyone who hasn't played the game that they played, such as in cases where if someone grinds in certain games, he or
Yet again, why are we voluntarily separating ourselves like this? I'm kind of, going off the wagon. That's not the right term. I'm kind of going off topic a little bit here, but we have people in other circles that don't like us because we're gamers and blah 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 and all that stupid shit. So why would we voluntarily separate ourselves by saying I'm a hardcore gamer or I'm a casual gamer? And I know sometimes I say DSP plays those casual baby shit games, but I'm not calling him a casual gamer. I'm saying he plays casual games. But I'm not going to put him in a separate fucking category. We all play video games. People that don't like people that play video games don't like all of us. So why put ourselves in a different category? Because, oh, I'm a hardcore gamer. I play video games more than you. I know about games more than you. I'm a different type of person than you. Why do that? Anyway,
she's frowned
I
upon
could
by the rest of the
get
gaming
extremely off topic with this, so
Also,
I'm
in
going to
my
shut
case, where I play a game, everyone except me had in their childhood, I'm looked down upon for not having played the game the way that they
up. I hate
played
when
it.
people do that. I
At the same time, I mentioned
do.
that a casual crowd can...
And this extremely relates to DSP. Because people watch him play a game like Jack and Daxter, they watch him play a game like Metal Gear Solid, and they say, oh, I played this game when I was 12 years old, and I did way better. DSP, you fucking suck at this game. You need to kill yourself. You don't know how to do a cross jump? Oh, you're a fucking shithead. You need to die. So yeah, I can understand why he took this question.
Crowd. So for example, in fighting games,
I hate when people
rather
act
than a
like
lot of
that.
the
I
time
really
taking
do.
the time to learn the basics of a
That's just me.
character, people will just learn a certain combo that everyone uses because it's overpowered or abusive. And, also in cases when you're trying to learn a game, you feel disheartened when you spend so much time learning the game, and then you go against other people who only chose the overpowered character that only takes an hour to learn, or they set, a game with really simplified controls like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and you lose because...
But don't play that
not
game
because
online.
you don't have more knowledge or you're playing at a higher skill level, but because they use the easy mode shit to win. So what are your thoughts
But
on
don't
this?
play
And do you feel that
Marvel
backseat
online.
gaming could ruin the experience of a game? Now, I've talked about...
That question was all over the place. Because backseat gaming has nothing to do with playing Marvel online and getting bodied because somebody mashed out an easy combo. But
this
whatever.
over the years, okay? I have.
Oh boy.
I've talked about this over the years. How it was many Evos ago. I don't remember, but I made a video about this. A lot of people said, Phil,
Many
did you hear
Evos
Justin
ago.
Wong lost in Street Fighter 4 Evo? And I said,
That was
yes.
a good
They said,
video.
why do you think he lost? And I said, it's very simple. Because he takes the easy way out. He learns the
I think a dude had played with Hakan and he bodied Justin Wong at Evo. And DSP took a wonderful shit on Justin Wong during that video.
And he only learns matchups with those characters. He doesn't go into the game and play with every character and master every character to know what their strategies are. So that particular year, Justin Wong went up against a player named GamerB, who was really good with Adon. By the way,
Oh,
Adon
it was
a character
Adon.
almost
Okay,
no
it
one
wasn't
was playing
Hakan. It was
with.
Adon.
So because he
Got
didn't
him
play
mixed
with
up.
Adon, he didn't know what the fuck was going on. He got bodied and he lost.
And to this day,
So,
GamerB is still
that's
around.
the downfall
Amazing.
of going for the abusive strategy. Now, sadly, there have been games over the years. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike is infamous for this. If you learn Chun-Li and you learn Ken in Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, and those are the only
Fucking
characters you ever
Chun-Li.
play with, you will win most of your matches because those are the two best characters besides Yoon. Yoon is actually overall the best character, but he's hard to play with because you need to have muscle memory and do all these really complex combos. So a lot of people over the years only played with those two characters and actually had a good tournament run in those games because they were playing the abusive, overpowered characters. And it's annoying.
And then when new games came out, they fell off.
Gamer, right? If you really want to master a game and become a high tournament level player, when you see easy mode shit, like for example Street Fighter 4, it was Sagat. In vanilla Street Fighter 4, Sagat was incredibly overpowered. And there were people who only learned Sagat and were doing great and were winning tournaments with Sagat. And then when the next version came out and they nerfed Sagat, those players disappeared.
Yep.
Because Sagat was
they're nobodies now.
And they couldn't hang anymore because they just weren't good. They were using an abusive tactic, and for them to learn a higher level of gameplay, they couldn't handle it. So it's true. But the flip side of that, in my opinion, is when you have a game that's not a competitive game, a game that's not meant to be competitive, and people will talk shit to you because you play it in a way that's not in their line of top-level gameplay, right?
This is where the answer gets interesting.
I will 100% admit that when I played the...
When he say a game that's not competitive, he means every game that's not competitive, obviously. You know, games like Metal Gear Solid, Spyro the Dragon. He never played Spyro the Dragon. Crash Bandicoot, that's a really good one, a really relevant one. Sly Cooper, Jesus Christ, Devil May Cry. Half the games he's ever played.
Metal Gear Solid series, I sucked at it. I didn't take any effort to learn or listen. I didn't care about the tutorials. I wasn't listening to the shit that was going on, and I was just kind of flubbing the games, trying to get through them and do kind of silly playthroughs of them. I didn't really give a shit about, oh, these games are held in high regard and everyone respects Kojima or whatever. And I even, insulted Kojima and the game developer several times during the playthroughs, right?
Nice, honest DSP.
Absolutely, you could say when I played those games, I did not play them correctly. I just fucked around and somehow beat them, right?
Wow.
But
people gave him shit for it.
To say that you have to play Metal Gear Solid
and still do.
One way. Honestly, who is the authority?
I'm sure somebody's going to be mad at me for saying this, but it's still people to this day that say, oh, he did so bad at Metal Gear Solid. When he played Metal Gear Solid, I'm mocking people. I don't want to do that. Sorry about that. But he did so bad when he played Metal Gear Solid 3. What a fucking shithead. He doesn't deserve to have a job. He doesn't deserve to work on YouTube. He played Metal Gear Solid 3 so bad. He should have learned all the controls. I beat this game when I was 12. I beat Metal Gear Solid 3 when I was, 14? Yeah, I beat Metal Gear Solid 3 when I was 14. I beat Metal Gear Solid 2 when I was 13. I beat Metal Gear Solid 1 when I was fucking 8. Either 8 or 9. 8 or 9. I beat that game, Metal Gear Solid 1. I love those games. But I'm not mad at somebody if they don't love those games, if they bad at those games. Different people feel different ways about different stuff, but I don't know. I feel like sometimes people go way too overboard when it comes to that.
Authority who will say, listen, you must play the game this way, and if you don't, fuck you. Seriously, it's not a competitive game. It's a single-player narrative.
You're talking about like half of YouTube.
That is meant to be,
like half the YouTube viewers.
If you want to fuck with the game and suck at it, you can fuck with the game and suck at it. And just because there are people who play a game a certain way and it's a master-level playthrough and you pay attention to everything and you're super sneaking and you master the controls, that doesn't mean that that's the only way the game can be played. Now, if you're talking Street Fighter, for example, we'll go back to this. Street Fighter is a competitive game. And so, yes, there is a way to learn the game and be good at it, right, at a tournament level.
I mean, it's a way to learn every game and be good at it.
I'm not going to talk shit about a guy who doesn't want to play at a competitive level, who buys the game just to play it single player and enjoy it, and he picks Ryu, and he just jump kicks with roundhouse repeatedly. He ignored the tutorials. He didn't pay attention to the controls.
Keep in mind, he said single player. He didn't say online, because if he plays against somebody like that online, he's going to shit talk him for days. He said single player.
All he does is jumping roundhouse, and he plays like crazy, and he beats the game. He beats the story of the game just using jumping roundhouse with Ryu. I don't care. I'm not going to go to that guy's house and say, fuck you, you played it wrong, you're a fucking asshole. Now, that guy went on the internet and said, I am the best Street Fighter 4 player of all time. I will fuck up anyone who plays against me. And then all he does is jumping roundhouse and he gets bodied. Yeah, then that's a different situation.
Then you can shit on
them.
People
take video games so fucking seriously in a lot of cases, they don't see the difference between playing a game casually for fun and playing a game on a competitive level. You can play Street Fighter.
This is a really good point to make. We can shit on, by this logic, we can shit on DSP as much as we want for him being bad at Street Fighter 4. because he does try to play that game seriously. I won't say competitively. He did play it competitively, allegedly, but he tries to play it seriously. He tries to do good. He doesn't just fuck around when he plays Street Fighter. He doesn't fuck around when he plays any fighting game. He tries to do good. So by his logic, we can openly shit on him because he's trying to do good. But when he plays games like Metal Gear Solid and Crash Bandicoot, Sly Cooper, and Mario Galaxy, and Dying Light, and any other game that's single player, we don't have the right to shit on him, yet again, in his opinion, because he don't try.
On a competitive tournament level. It's designed to be that way. It's a one-on-one competitive game. There's no fucking competition for Metal Gear Solid. There's no fucking competition for most games. It's just you doing a fun single-player experience. And it's not in anyone's fucking realm of authority to say that you played a game wrong. And so there's basically people who are guilty on both sides here.
Looking at that chat.
You know what I mean? There really are. There's people who are guilty on both sides of the fence. Shame on the competitive community for talking down to anyone who wants to play Street Fighter and have fun with it and maybe not learn the higher level gameplay. That's not right. That's bigotry. That's being an inclusive, elitist mentality community, and that should be looked down upon.
It is kind of being elitist. I don't know about bigotry.
But shame on those who want to play casually but then say that they're the best, right? Understand that there's a competitive level that you didn't achieve. Flip side here is the people who aren't playing competitive games. Shame on those who are playing these games and treating them like they are competitive, and goddamn, how dare someone play a game in another way? Fuck, that's ridiculous. That's insanely elitist. You know what I mean? So, I can understand that there is a casual versus, you know, high-level hardcore competitive. It's always going to be there, especially with games that, like Street Fighter, can be played casually and competitively, okay? You're going to have that dichotomy. You have to have a happy medium. You have to understand that some people will never be at that level, and some people will strive always to be at that level. So it all depends. It's a very subjective thing. It's not that you could say right or wrong, who's in the right or who's in the wrong. You have to have an open mind, and you have to be understanding and just not be a really closed-minded, elitist, bigoted dick about it. And ultimately, let's face it,
But see, the thing is, DSP is very closed-minded, except when it's convenient to him to be open-minded.
There should
But
be
I understand
a way to
I understand the point you're trying to make.
Ultimately, yeah, even though Sagat did dominate in Street Fighter 4 Vanilla, ultimately people found ways around it, and he didn't win every tournament. You know what I mean? So there will always be a way around the easy mode shit, and ultimately Capcom should be striving to make games where the easy mode shit doesn't win tournaments. And that's on the game developer, not on the player at all.
Take a sip.
All right.
Wow.
Final question, and then we'll take a quick break. We'll go to the next part, okay?
Oh, man.
This question is from Matthew Vader, and he says, "Hey, Phil, there's been a lot of bad remakes lately by Hollywood, such as Poltergeist, the Vacation series of comedy movies, etc. Do you think there will be a time when Hollypoop, as he calls it, will learn that we want good movies, not just the same old shit that's rehashed? My friend Jason, a couple years ago, saw Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. He got so mad at the movie because he thought it was so bad, he took the disc out and snapped it in half. Yes, he was that stupid.
He rage quit the movie.
Will the tall and mighty dumbasses stop killing our babies?" So basically what Matt is trying to say is something that I've been saying for years. What is going on in Hollywood?
You're taking the easy way out, just like game developers.
Right? Why is Ghostbusters being remade exactly? Why was Poltergeist just remade into a new movie?
You gotta cash in on that nostalgia.
The fact of the matter is,
you don't care if they like that movie, you just want them to go and see it.
The creativity of Hollywood is gone. Because here's how it used to work. In Hollywood, to make a movie was a gamble. You had to get a bunch of funding, and you were making an original movie, a premise, and some of them would be big hits, and you make a ton of money, and some of them would not be. It was a gamble. Hollywood now has become, well, because now everything
this was
is digital
popular, let's do it again.
Because not a lot of people go to movie theaters anymore compared to how they used to. All that big money, the days of milk and honey, when everything was abundant and they were making tons of money, those days
like 2009
are gone.
YouTube.
Now, because they're making less money on movies, they need to find a way to make guaranteed hits. We need something that's going to put butts in seats, so if we invest the money, we know we're making our money back.
This sounds like 2015 YouTube now.
Which is preposterous. I mean, you're always going to have risk involved, but they're trying to find, like, safe investments. So when I hear that Poltergeist, okay, is being remade, when I hear that Poltergeist, a classic horror movie,
cut his computer screen back
on. What I hear is, we don't want to do anything original.
At the chat again.
We don't want to take any chances. We don't want to do anything that's going to have any kind of artistic fucking value. We just want to take something that was, you know, popular in the past, and just for the sake of name recognition, we want to make our money back.
Doesn't that sound like Project 7 and his best and worst montages? Let's get something that was popular a long time ago and bring it back to cash in on it.
That's all.
But
it
I
is.
digress.
It's a bunch of investors who are so
Kappa.
unsure. They don't want to take a risk anymore. So they don't want to. Oh, here's an aspiring young filmmaker.
It's so many
who has
YouTubers that don't want to take a risk
fun
anymore.
Movie that sounds good. Let's back that guy. No, we want to remake fucking stuff that already was popular. And not, let's face it, 9 times out of 10, this stuff is trash, right? Take a look at
like
the
Project
remakes that
7.
have come out recently. Vacation. Did you see the fucking previews
Project
for that movie?
7?
That
You
thing
see the
looked like
fucking
shit. And by the
previews
way,
for that?
tanked.
It looked like shit.
Terribly. Yeah, it's stupid that there's no. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is back again. Michael Bay. Oh my fucking god, are you fucking for real?
We need Michael Bay to
How
do
many times
Project
Ninja Turtles
7.
have to be revived at this point? It's ridiculous. And the sad fact is that the
At the same time, you can shit on people for reviving old stuff, but I mean, in the case of some stuff, it never got old. Like, for instance, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, it never really got old. You know, people grew out of it, but it never got to the point of, oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Wow, I haven't heard about that in 10 years. You know, it never got to that point. Yeah.
There is still creativity. I have to stand by the fact there has to be human creativity, but the investors now, since all they care about are making money, and not actually making a piece
The patrons,
of art,
all they
wanna
care
make their
about is
money
giving you
back.
money.
They don't want to take a risk on this shit anymore. So they financially back the crap instead of the original stuff.
They back the crap. Project
It doesn't
7.
make sense. Now here's the thing. Sometimes it works.
Mm-hmm.
For example, there's some movies, and you might not know this, some movies, the remake ended up being way more popular than the original. All right.
Tell us, what
so if there was
movies?
a movie where the original movie wasn't a super popular movie, and
I don't
it's
know
not
anything
a
about
household
movies. I don't
name,
watch
and you
movies.
want to remake that movie?
I
That's
watch
a different
purposely bad
situation,
movies.
right?
I don't
well,
watch
you're gonna
good
remake
movies.
Friday the fucking 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and all these movies, and you expect that they're gonna do
What?
anywhere near the originals? You're out of your fucking mind.
Well, of course they won't do as
Like,
good as the originals because it's not the 80s anymore. But the Friday the 13th remake was all right. I didn't dislike it, and I watched every Friday the 13th movie. I've been watching those since I was like 3 or 4 years old. I don't remember the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, but I never had nostalgia for those anyway.
You can't hold a candle to if it's something quintessential in its genre as a movie that's known as greatness. You can't recreate that with a remake, and you never will. All you're looking for is this if you're an investor who backs one of those
Maybe they
fucking
didn't
games.
try
That's
to.
disgusting, seriously.
Were they supposed to make Friday the
It really
13th
is,
part
and,
17?
It's
I don't know. Looking at the chat.
It disturbs me.
Stop
that
looking at the chat. There you go.
We have everything is a rehash. How many things?
I say this in almost every video like this at this point. When he looks at the chat, he completely forgets his train of thought. Like if he's saying, I'm about to go to the store, if he looks at the chat in the middle of saying that, he'll be like, I'm about to, well, I'm actually about to go to the store. It's really, really lame.
A lot of the stuff that Hollywood puts out is a rehash. And it's sad because when you have no chances and you have no originality, you're just going to have the same shit in a loop. The same culture will be...
Yet again, an easy argument for this. Of course, you could say Hollywood just rehashes everything, but what original movie idea can you come up with in 2015? We had movies with serial killers. We had movies with, like, clowns killing people. We had movies with dudes wearing hockey masks killing people. We had movies with dudes killing people in their dreams. We had movies with dudes calling people on the phone before they killed them. We had movies with people getting married. We had movies with people getting divorced. We had movies with everything. At this point, you really can't come up with something completely original because everything kind of been done. You just gotta get what you get and make a good movie out of it. If you want everything to be original in 2015, you might be looking a
Pop
while.
culture loop forever. Well, Transformers was popular, wasn't popular, now it's popular. It'll go away and it'll come back in another 25 years and be popular again, you know? I don't know.
Probably so.
Same thing happens with gaming too, don't get me wrong. Same thing happens with gaming and everything, so it's not just movies that's guilty of this. So
It's media
All
in
right,
general.
everyone,
It's
so
hard to have original
that's it for
media.
part
It's
one of Ask the King.
2015.
I hope you're enjoying it. If you're watching this live on stream, just stick around. I'll be back after a few minutes break. If you're watching this on YouTube on demand, there will be a part 2, so you can jump right ahead to part 2 right here on the King of Hate Vlogs. That's it, everyone. I'll be back shortly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a few minutes.
Good Lord. I think the other video is going to automatically load. This is going to be, let me stop recording because I don't want these videos to be long. Good God, this is going to be like 4 hours worth of fucking videos. Anyway, I'll be back. I'll put part 2 to this video in the description of this video. So if you watch this all the way through for God knows whatever reason, the link for the next one will be in the description if it's uploaded. Ugh.